Hey everyone, I want to talk about something that might be a bit counterintuitive at first. Why you should thank people for saying no to you. This is a topic that is particularly important when we talk about consent and healthy relationships, but it actually relates to all areas of life. Think about the last time somebody rejected you. Maybe they said no to going on a date, no to hanging out, or they declined an invitation. How did that make you feel? Probably not great. Most of us have been conditioned to see rejection as something negative, something that reflects poorly on us or diminishes our self-worth somehow. But here's the thing, receiving a clear no is actually a gift, and I'm going to explain why we should be grateful when people are brave enough to give us one. This might challenge some of your existing beliefs around rejection, but stick with me. I think you'll find this perspective shift really valuable. I first encountered this at a festival about 18 months ago where I was in a workshop about how we create safe spaces for people to set out their boundaries. One part of the workshop in particular stood out to me where we were role-playing different rejection scenarios. I saw dramatically how a positive response to a rejection can completely change the dynamics of that conversation. It shifted the entire emotional tone of that conversation, and it also teaches us how we can powerfully change future conversations. Firstly, let me acknowledge something really important. Saying no is hard, really hard, and especially when it comes to romantic and sexual consent. We're socially conditioned to be nice, to not hurt anybody's feelings and not make things awkward. This conditioning is particularly strong for women, but it affects everyone to some degree. This social pressure often leads people to give soft no's, making excuses, ghosting, saying maybe later, or even reluctantly agreeing to something they don't actually want to do. None of these outcomes are good for anybody involved. Let's break down why these alternatives to a clear no can be problematic. If you make excuses, this can lead to a prolonged back and forth and some false hope. Saying maybe later keeps people hanging on when there's no real interest. Ghosting leaves people confused and creates more emotional damage than a clear rejection. And reluctant agreement can result in boundary violations or other negative experiences for all the parties, and feelings of confusion and unfulfillment for the person that asked the question. When someone gives you a clear no, they're doing several important things. They're being honest with you, showing respect for your time and emotions. They're respecting you enough to give you clear communication. They're trusting that you can handle rejection maturely. They're modelling healthy boundary setting. And finally, they're taking responsibility for their own feelings and choices. Let's dive deeper into why these are all valuable things. When someone is honest with you, they're treating you like an adult who can handle the truth. When they communicate clearly, they're showing respect for your time and emotional energy. And when they trust you to handle the rejection well, they're acknowledging your emotional maturity. Think about the alternative. Would you rather somebody pretended to like you when they actually don't? Make excuses, ghost you, or worse, do something which they don't actually want to do? Each of these scenarios can lead to more friction and pain than a simple, clear no. A clear no gives you something valuable. Certainty. It lets you move on. It prevents you from wasting time and using up your emotional energy on maybes. It prevents you potentially crossing somebody's boundaries unknowingly. In essence, it's a form of respect for both you and the truth of the situation. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you respond to a rejection with gratitude, a simple thank you, you're doing something powerful. You're creating an environment where honest communication feels safe. You're contributing to a culture where direct communication is valued and appreciated. Let's briefly explore a couple of scenarios, one which is negative and one which is positive. So the first reaction is going to be a negative response to a rejection. So someone says no. They get met with anger or guilt tripping, and what they learn is that direct communication is dangerous. In the future, they're more likely to ghost you or make excuses, and this also makes their future communication less direct. And it also affects their trust in you in future, not just when it comes to consent, but in a lot of other things too. The second scenario is when you have a positive reaction to a rejection. So someone says no, they get thanked for their honesty and they learn that being direct is safe. In the future, they're more likely to communicate clearly. This benefits all their future interactions and creates trust in you. This ripple effect is crucial to understand. Every time they are in a situation where they get positive reactions to their no's, they're more likely to be direct in future. Not just with you, but with everyone. You're helping to create a more direct communicative culture around consent and boundaries. Now, I want to acknowledge something important. I'm not saying that rejection feels good, because it doesn't. It's completely normal and okay to feel disappointed, hurt, and sad when somebody says no to you. The key is separating those feelings from the person you're responding to. Here's a simple script you can use. Thank you for being direct with me. I appreciate your honesty. That's it. That's all you need. No need for lengthy explanations or trying to change their mind. No need to hide your disappointment, but also no need to make it their problem. This approach has several benefits. It helps you demonstrate your emotional maturity. It helps you keep your dignity and self-respect. It keeps doors open for future platonic or even romantic relationships. It contributes to a healthier communication culture. And most importantly, it helps you deal with rejection in a much more constructive way. Remember, somebody saying no to you isn't a reflection of your self-worth. It's that person using their right to clearly communicate their boundaries. They have rights to make choices about their own life, just as you have rights to make choices about yours. Compatibility, timing, and personal preference are all complex things, and it's much more likely that a rejection is about these things than it is about you. Okay, so here's some practical tips for implementing this approach. The first one is practice. Think about what you're going to say in advance, and when you need it, it's there. Remember that your immediate reaction doesn't have to match your immediate feelings. Give yourself space to process your emotions after the interaction. And focus on the long-term benefits rather than your short-term discomfort. It's better for you in the long term as well, because they aren't going to think less of you because you gave them a positive reaction to their no. So next time somebody gives you a clear no, try thanking them. And it might feel weird at first, but it's a small change that everybody can do. And it can be a big positive change for society and how we all communicate our boundaries and consent. Think of it as your contribution to making a more honest, respectful, and communicative world. This shift has particularly powerful implications for young people learning about consent and relationships. Instead of seeing consent as a simple yes-no equation, they can see it as part of a broader framework of clearer communication when it comes to relationships. When saying no feels safe, people are more likely to give genuine, enthusiastic yeses when they really want something, and not saying no out of a lack of trust. Thanking somebody for their no creates future trust, and I believe has potential to completely transform how we view consent. Not only that, but it's something that everybody can do with very little effort. So it can and should be the norm. These things create a positive feedback loop. Not only does the person receiving the gratitude from saying no, instead of receiving guilt or anger, then believe that direct communication is safe, it also benefits the person receiving that no, because they no longer believe that rejection is a catastrophe. Because that clear communication, even when it's uncomfortable, leads to better long-term outcomes. Over time, this builds a foundation of trust, which extends beyond just this one interaction. This shift in dynamics is particularly useful in consent education, because one of the core things that educators have problems with is the fear of a negative reaction. When we remove that fear by consistently reacting positively to a no, we make it easier for everyone to be honest about their boundaries and desires. This creates safer, more authentic relationships where everybody can trust that they're getting genuine responses rather than just reluctant acceptance. And here's something which gets often overlooked, right? Clear communication around consent can be incredibly attractive. I'll let you into a little secret. I like when somebody even replies to me when I'm asking for their consent for something. I quite like it when they say yes, and it doesn't even matter if we then don't end up doing it. I feel amazing when they say yes. I feel like I have won the lottery. So sometimes it's nothing to do with the actual acts that you're about to do. It's about knowing that that person would like to do that with you, genuinely. It creates a foundation of trust, which allows for more and deeper intimacy. There's nothing sexier than knowing that your partner is into it as much as you are and wants your genuine, enthusiastic participation. Importantly, it creates a situation where if you're doing something and you don't want to do it anymore, a no will be accepted gratefully. So people don't feel pressured into maintaining unwanted relationships and bad situations, because they know they're not going to get a negative reaction from saying, I don't want to do this anymore. By normalising the grateful acceptance of a no, we create healthier relationship dynamics where both parties feel empowered to express their true feelings and respect each other's choices. Let me know in the comments, have you ever thanked somebody for saying no to you? How did it go? And how do you usually handle rejection? I really want to hear your experiences, so let me know just down there. And if you found this video useful, then give it a like and share it with other people who would also find it useful. I genuinely think this is actually one of the things which could change the face of consent. And the more people that know about it and do this, I think the better for everybody. Just before I leave, I want to say my name is Andy. I make videos here on YouTube and on other platforms. You can subscribe so you don't miss a thing whenever I put it out. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.